church isn't a place that we go. Church isn't, we don't have church. We are the church.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest barrier, if you will, between where a person is and understanding their calling, their commission, if you will, to be the informal missionary.
Aaron didn't know the next step until he got to Moses and Moses filled him in. And sometimes that's obedience when obedience doesn't make sense. Sometimes the step of obedience you need to take living on mission is, all right, God, show me who I need to help. Show me where I need to be. Show me where I need to serve.
I think there's a contrast there, right? Between the instructions that Aaron got and the instructions that Moses got. Moses got a whole 2 chapters of a burning bush where God's speaking to him. And at the end of it, he's like, I'm not the guy. Aaron gets hey, I want you to go to the wilderness. And he said, yes, sir.
It was just good to see God orchestrate all of that, even though in July, we didn't have an Orchard Global series. Each location pastor did his own, and yet God orchestrated that beautifully.
Welcome to Let's Talk About That, the podcast where we dive into conversations about life and share stories of faith. We're thrilled to be on this journey with you. Whether you're a longtime listener, someone who calls the Orchard home, or you're just stopping by, Let's Talk About That is your space to explore, reflect, and connect. Join us as we navigate the intricacies of faith, spiritual formation, and daily life as we invite guests to share their stories with us. So grab a cup of coffee, find a comfortable space, and let's do this together. This is Let's Talk About That, where you can be encouraged and inspired by God's work in our lives.
All right. Well, we are back with Let's Talk About That. And I am excited about the conversation that we're having today because I believe this is the first time that we have had all 4 of our location pastors sitting around a table since AJ moved to Virginia and Robert moved to Brantford. And so we got all 4 of us around the table, got myself, got Matt from Live Oak, got Eddie and Robert from Brantford. And so I'm excited about the conversation today. It's going to be good stuff. So before we get started, I'm just curious, are you guys excited for college football season to get going?
Man, it can't get here soon enough. Friday night begins high school football.
Hey, is it this Friday, really?
Well, it is for Brantford.
Yeah,
Wow.
Classic.
I didn't realize it was this Friday.
Yes, sir.
I'm way more excited about high school football than college football. College football is kind of like the minor leagues for professional football now. So
That's true.
Hey,
yeah, that's why I'm not excited for it either. Not because my team's coming off a 2-10 season.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with it.
there's no way to go up, though, Matt. That's the good thing.
That's what I thought a couple years ago.
Easy.
And we found out that rock bottom is a couple layers deeper.
Well, high school athletes can get NILs now, right?
Yeah, I know. That's actually amazing. But yeah. In fact, I better just leave that alone.
Well, so I'm just curious, do you think it's ever going to be worth it for the Orchard to sign an athlete to an NIL deal?
I don't know, but I can tell you I have a 6-foot sophomore that plays volleyball, and we are open to any offers. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say a minute ago. So my grandson is moving to another school. And I told my daughter, I said, well, I'll tell you what, when you're putting together an NIL deal, include gate tickets for Grandpa.
There you go. I like that. I think that's a good move. It is. Man, it's weird because there has been such a shift in college football, and that identity of one team, like that being my team. And it's weird because, I like watching NFL football. It's good football. I like watching it, but I don't feel like I hope this team.
You don't have emotional attachment.
Yeah, I don't have any emotional.
You know why that is, Chip? I know. You know why that is? It's because of fantasy football.
Yeah, it is.
You have emotional.
Yeah, it is.
You have emotional attachment to the people on your fantasy roster.
But even before that,
I don't care how the team does, but if my guy gets 25 points,
fantasy football, I will say, got me more engaged with the NFL. But
what if I told you
even
you were the
before
product of a free fantasy football app?
Absolutely.
Because now you watch and you
absolutely
subscribe.
Hey, if you ever get anything entertainment wise free, that means you're the product.
Yep.
100%. You know why television, quote unquote, is free, even though it's really not? Because you're the product. Because the ads, right?
Ads.
However, I could care less who won a football game before I started playing fantasy football either.
But Chip, you got to be careful because, when you say fantasy football, you got to remember that you're the product of fantasy football. So let's get real here. Let's get to the gridiron. Let's get the sweat and blood.
I tell my wife, it is a real game. It's not a fantasy game. I'm really taking Matt to the woodshed. That's how this is going.
It's
I'll
a
take
real
your
game,
word
but not
on
a
it.
real sport.
I'm out.
We're going to stop the podcast for a minute to let me share with you a reminder about O-Day. It's coming up on August the 17th. If you missed last year, you do not want to miss this year. O-Day happens on the Swanee River at Camp Anderson Anchored in Old Town, Florida. There's going to be the Blob. There's going to be Gel Blasters, the pool, games for kids, and we're going to end with a family night of worship that I promise you your kids are going to enjoy. So there is still time. Go ahead, mark it down on your calendars. Join us Sunday, August 17th, 2 p.m., Camp Anderson Anchored for O-Day 2025. You're not going to want to miss it. All right, well, let's hop back into our conversation. I wonder if that's where college football is going. Like, you like watching it, but you just don't have that emotional attachment to it. Like,
listen, I grew up. That's
I don't know. I'm always going to hate LSU.
Every Saturday, that's what I did. You know, it was like, hey, man, it's college football. We had season tickets growing up, and it was like you go to the games. You become invested.
That's right. You guys had season tickets growing up.
Yeah, I mean, we were all in.
So you were indoctrinated.
Yeah, I mean, call it what it is. You were too. That's why you have a Gator shirt on. But
yeah, dude.
I think it's just you become emotionally attached because it's linked to memories and all that stuff. I mean, the nostalgia of going to the games and all that stuff. But now, like, I couldn't even name probably 5 starters on FSU's team. And
well, that's because you don't know who they are yet. Until they take the field, you don't actually.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, the sport has changed. Like, college football is no longer what it was, and it never will be again. And so there's an element of, like, it's kind of like the mini NFL of, like, I'm excited. You know, it's college football. It's just what you do in the South. But I'm really not overly excited like I used to be, even coming off a bad season. It's just kind of like, man, you would see a guy and he was a freshman and he had a couple spotlight highlight moments throughout the season. You're like, I can't wait to see this guy next year. He's not going to be here next year. He's going to go the highest bidder and he's going to go in the portal, not because he hates the school, but because he's just capitalizing on his opportunity.
It's free agency on 1-year contracts.
Totally agree with Matt. You know, I used to could tell you that, you know, a guy comes in and has a great freshman year. You're like, oh man, we got 3 more years of this guy, you know? No. And now it's like, oh no, hopefully he finishes the season.
If I'm a college coach now, okay, did you see the thing about the holdout, right? Like now guys are, without actually saying it, guys are holding out in fall camp or spring practice, trying to negotiate behind the scenes and stuff in college.
In fall practice.
Like this is happening. Jeez. You know, the whole Nico, however you say his name, right? Who goes to UCLA, all the backlash that came
Nico
after he's, you know, and I get it. It's probably bitter Tennessee fans because that's just who they are. But
let's go.
You know, they're saying like, oh, he threatened to hold out for the playoff game to negotiate with it. You don't know if that's true, but it's possible.
Yeah, I understand.
It's just the
perception of it is what's so bad.
Yeah.
The game
so I read, I'm not up on this completely, and I don't know anymore what to believe and what not to believe. But I read like they even negotiate playing time. You know, like you got to guarantee me so many third down plays if you're a defensive lineman.
Allegedly, the guy from UF that transferred to LSU, he's a starter and he wanted guaranteed extra, you know, not so even just money.
You're saying UF held with integrity and wouldn't guarantee. So that's why.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what the Rashada court case is saying.
Well done, sir. Well done. In other similar takes, get off my lawn. So, you know, I know it's kind of the angry old man. College football is not what it was, but the truth is,
I mean, it's still something
ready for college football season, but it's like, you know.
To me, you know what college football is now? It's a signal of cooler weather is not far behind. It's a signal of hunting season's coming.
Come on, give
like
me some.
The fall is coming, you know.
You know what we can all agree on, though?
What's that?
Pickleball isn't just for old people.
That's true.
So, there we go. I knew I was going to get
Eddie on board. Here's the good deal. Here's the good news. Pickleball includes old people.
You know, as my sore knee has bothered me yesterday, I would agree. But, you know, as much as you guys love this conversation, this is not here, or not what we're here to talk about. We are really just wanting to sit down and catch up for a little while. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like this was the fastest summer that I think I've experienced because it just felt like, and it was partly how our schedule worked because like the first week of summer, Leanne had to go on a work trip for the school. And then shortly after that, I was at kids. I mean, so our summer felt like it didn't get started till later, but it just felt like as soon as the summer started, it was over.
To me, summer is like 2 parts though. I feel like June goes by slow and July goes by rapidly fast. I don't know. Maybe that is a schedule thing. To me, it's almost like everybody catches their breath the first couple weeks of summer because school's ended. And so you're just soaking in, not doing anything. And maybe it feels like it goes slower. But I'm telling you, when it hits July, it's like July is gone. And then here we are, you know, at the time of this recording, first day back to school for a lot of local school districts.
Yeah. I was actually the opposite. I felt like June was just, and then July is, we slowed down. Well, and that's probably because we took our vacation during July this year too. So
you were gone for 4 weeks.
I tried my best.
Mysteriously, you were gone during the O'Day video recording.
It's weird how that happens, isn't it?
Weird.
The beautiful historical O'Day video.
Next year, I'm holding out.
I don't know, Matt. That picture of you at the end in the raft, I mean, that was worth a lot.
That's definitely what Paul had in mind when he said all things to all people, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm telling you. I think, boy, he's taking one for the team there.
Yeah. So, Robert, you didn't do much this summer, did you?
Oh, just a little bit busy. For me, June, July, and now August is just flying by super fast.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Getting the kids settled in, started school today, or has Walker started yet for his college?
No, I think it's next week he begins, but he's all online, so he's going to be working a lot.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I had a deacon at the church I pastored in Mayo. He told me one time, and I'm telling you, it stuck with me ever since. He says, you're either making money or you're spending money. You can't do both at the same time.
That's true.
Now, granted, that was before Amazon popped up as an app on your phone. But that's good. That's good. And Matt, you had some eventful things happen this summer as well. I'm sure most
just
people
a couple things
listen to this, but I'll never forget. This is ingrained in my memory, Matt. And I'll never forget you coming in the office on a Tuesday and just sitting on the couch and there's just a blank glazed over look on your
I know
face.
what you're talking about.
That was last week.
No, it was a little longer than that. You just had your third child. It was a stressful medical time with some procedures. You had bought a new business and were transitioning ownership, getting it up and running. And I believe just a few days before the AC had started messing up at the house.
Listen, I said this in Lake City. Like there was a week where, if you don't believe in spiritual warfare, like it was everything.
Well,
it was just one thing after another and just mentally exhausting, physically exhausting. And I think I came in that Tuesday and I was like, I could go to sleep right here, right now.
I think actually what you said first, and I'm sure Eddie can back me up on this, is you go, why would anybody ever have 3 kids?
I stand by it. Okay.
Hey, you know what, Chip? That was supposed to stay in here, I think.
Listen, I need to defend myself. My wife got on to me last week. She said I was being negative. She said every time you talk about the kids, like you said, you act like it's the most miserable thing in the world. And I'm like, no, I'm just trying to be honest. I love my kids.
We are transparent.
But they are expensive and tiring. That's just how it is. And I still feel the same way. If
Matt's
you have 3
write
kids,
a book on
It's
parenting.
only just begun, brother. Wait until they start doing all this ball and traveling and going crazy.
listen,
Matt's going to write a book on parenting, and he's going to call it Transparent. Wait, no, can't do that. Can't do that. Whoops.
Right, we're not going to do that.
That took a turn.
Yeah. It's exhausting, but it's great.
Well, here's the thing. And Eddie, you have been one who've said this, and I think this is great. Everybody talks about, parenting your kids, but the truth is your kids are going to be adults a lot longer than they're going to be kids. And so everybody's like, oh, you're talking. No, I'm just like saying we got to raise these kids and we're going to be set up for a good relationship when they're grown, not just doing all the things, having all the fun, have the best kids in the world.
Yeah, that is so true. And I think you do appreciate that the older your children get, because you're having to deal with, they're about to leave home and I'm not happy about this. And then you have to stop and realize, wait a minute, this is my goal. This has been the goal all along. Andy Andrews, he's the guy that said it best. Andy Andrews said, your goal is not to raise good kids. Your goal is to raise good adults.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's true, right? Because there's a lot of kids out there. They're great kids, but something's got to change. That's all they're ever going to be.
But that struggle is real because, the old adage is you give them roots and then you give them wings. Feathers don't grow overnight. Right.
Yeah, that's true. I'm telling you, again, this is just a catch up podcast, right? I had to go to Walmart yesterday because Chasen, our youngest son, he's starting middle school. He just got his first phone and it was earlier than we wanted. But this weekend we were at the lake and Leanne dropped her phone in the lake.
Oh, no.
I dove to the bottom of the lake and found it.
What a hero.
I'm impressed.
Pulled it out. Yeah, it was like, I'm dead. I'm alive. And then Sunday morning it wouldn't turn on. So I'm dead again. And so we wound up having to take it to the AT&T store yesterday. And we get there, we take it to the store. And this is how stupid like sales and promos and stuff is. Like the cost of things just doesn't make sense. It was cheaper. It reduced our bill to add a phone for Chasen. Craziest thing. So he wound up getting a phone. We had to go to Walmart, and I'm like, we're having the talk. Hey, all right, now you got to be responsible. This means you're growing up, all this. Waiting in line. I kid you not. There's a little kid running around in the like electronics center of Walmart when he's getting his accessories. The kid has a pool noodle and just running around beating his mom and her mom and dad over the head with that pool noodle. And I just look at Chasen, and Chasen looks at me and he goes, I said, is right, buddy. Is right. So, you know, it's easy to have good kids, but it's also hard to have good kids. So parenting is a challenge.
For those who understand, the empty nest is not all bad. Let me just say, I love my kids.
Let he who has ears, let him hear.
Yes. I mean, that is a good word right there. So, Matt, one day, you know, it'll be better.
Yeah. Now, I will say this. Our son, he's the newest addition. He is sleeping a little better, longer stretches now. So, you know, I think you just get used to it. Like you're just always tired, right? Like you're chronically tired at this point. You just never get untired. But it is getting better. So there's my positive statement on, I love my kids and they're not all bad.
This is something that AJ heard me, say listening to Matt Chandler, and AJ's one who didn't let it die. He heard it over and over. But I thought it was a great quote is that, hey, it's okay if we get to heaven exhausted. You know, like, and again, that doesn't mean burn your candle at both ends, burn yourself out, not take care of yourself. It is, if we are doing what God has called us to do, then there's going to be some tiredness that creeps in there. And again, don't mishear me there. Like we're not saying go kill yourself.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, if you're being a good dad, a good husband, and
well, I mean,
being a
even
good pastor,
going back to
it's tiring.
The way that we started this year, we started the year with a series Too Blessed Not to Be Stressed. And
yeah, that's
great. Kind of the goal in that series. And I think it's resonated with me and my wife in this phase of like, we're exhausted at times. But every time we find ourselves exhausted, I think it's a reminder of like, we are blessed, and we're blessed with, you know, a healthy baby, a healthy addition, our first son. So there's just a difference there between raising girls and like we remind ourselves all the time, are we exhausted? 1000%. And yet it's a reminder of God's goodness. And so we are blessed, and that's going to create stress, and it has created stress. It's going to create exhaustion. But at the end of the day, would we trade the stress and the exhaustion for how God has been kind to us? No, we wouldn't, because we are too blessed not to be stressed. And even with the business thing, you know, our goal with the business side of this, and people ask us like, so you had a kid and then you bought a business, and like, what were you thinking?
We weren't,
right? Brain fog. But I mean, even with that, like it's created some stress. You know, there's times where instead of sitting at home, we're having to drive round trip and do all that stuff. But our goal in that is honestly, we've talked about it, like our goal is just to be generous. Like we want to be generous in a community. We want to be generous towards people. And through that, it's created some stress, some additional exhaustion. But like we remind ourselves, like we're too blessed not to do these things. We're too blessed not to try to have influence in the people that God puts in our lives. And so, you know, we try to do that the best we can, use it as a ministry, be generous and all that stuff. And yes, it's stressful. Yes, it's exhausting. But at the end of the day, in Jesus, you're never going to find your peak level of comfort. The goal of the Christian life is not comfort. It's not ease. It's doing things in the name of Jesus for his glory and for his kingdom. And ultimately, if you follow Jesus, you will find yourselves at times exhausted, stressed, inconvenienced. But as we started the year, we are too blessed with a message and a hope that at times is going to cause stress in our lives, but we're too blessed not to be stressed.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You know, the thing is, speaking as the old guy here, and I hate to always do that, but I am. I was just thinking when you were talking about that, I said, the problem is, yes, you're right. You finally get past that exhaustion, that stage of exhaustion from raising your kids, but there's always the next thing. And, you know, you're still always exhausted. And you're right. It's because we are too blessed not to be. The opposite of that would be to not be doing anything. And hey, let's do it.
I think, you know, to refer to, I don't know if every generation gets this, or it was just kind of like the thing that Piper said, you know, in my generation, but if you don't want to be stressed or tired, just go collect seashells by the seashore.
Oh, great.
Just be proud of your seashell collection.
Yeah.
I think at the end of every day, something that I've learned to do and just help me manage stress, as you say, and worry, because we all get tired. We know we're going to get tired. Is it a good tired? And a good tired to me is always an evaluation of what took place in that day that got me so tired. And understanding it's not a sprint, it's a marathon in every area of my life. And just that's helped me to slow down a little bit.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like, it's kind of like football, baseball, right? You're tired at the end of one of those games, but yet it's not basketball, and that it's a constant back and forth sprint. Like it's let's run the play. All right, let's regroup. Let's run the play. Let's regroup. And I think it's that kind of tired that we want to go after. Hey, we're tired because we have been consistently moving the ball downfield. We've been consistently running the plays. But that doesn't mean that you don't stop and huddle and rest and gather and Sabbath. And maybe that's a good transition to one of the conversations we've been having around the orchard all summer, in 2 different sermon series, is the idea that we are all called to live on mission. Like there is a mission that's out there for us. So I'm curious, you guys have all, preached at least 1 or 2 of those messages this summer. So what are some takeaways that you've had maybe personally from the series, or even just things that you've seen people latch on to and run with from that idea of living on mission as an informal missionary?
I think so. In Live Oak, we did our On Mission series, which was an orchard series. Then we went straight into, I think it was 5 weeks of Location Pastor. And we kind of extended the idea of on mission through a little bit of a different lens. And we looked at the book of Acts. And in the book of Acts, I love, if I had to default, it's like, hey, you get one more message to preach. Obviously, you pray and you feel led by the Spirit to go in a direction. But like, if I had to choose, I would choose a narrative passage that just, it reads like a story, right? And the reason that I love narrative in the Bible is that you see real people in real moments, and it's not always pretty. I mean, you talk about read the Old Testament. We looked at Moses this past week. Moses killed a guy, and then he ran and he fled to the wilderness, probably to escape what he had done. And he probably thought, hey, I'm going to live the rest of these 40 years. I'm here. And I'm going to live my life, and I'm going to die in peace in the wilderness to escape my past, right? Here's Moses, a real guy in a real moment, and he kills somebody, right? Like the Bible doesn't shy away from those things. And in the book of Acts, when we were looking at that, just a couple of things that stood out about people who live on mission. I mean, you look at people like Paul, you look at people like Peter, you look at people like Ananias who went to Paul. And one of the messages that we looked at in Live Oak and that really stood out to me is, if we're going to live on mission, living on mission looks like obedience when obedience doesn't make sense to us. And I think so many times we live our lives and we live, I'm type A. I know, Robert, you mentioned like you like a plan. I like a plan. But when I mean a plan, I mean like A to Z. And I want to know every letter in between. But sometimes when God leads us to live on mission.
Oh, see, you lost me there for a minute, because it's like, I like knowing A and Z as well.
Yeah.
Could care less about the other 24 in the middle. I like where we're starting, where we're headed.
I like all 26 and how they connect. And sometimes, though, when God directs us or leads us or compels us to live on mission with people around us or moments or seizing opportunities, then I think for us, sometimes we just have to act on what we know. And that's, hey, God is leading me here, or he's put this person on my heart, or he's putting this. And I don't know why, because it doesn't really make sense, because I don't know this person, or we have a history and it's not a good history or whatever. But sometimes living on mission looks like obedience, even when obedience doesn't make sense. And Ananias went to Saul with the information, hey, Ananias, there's a guy named Saul and he's in Damascus and I want you to go talk to him. And Ananias is like, hold up, I know Acts chapter 8 and Saul's here and I know he's in Damascus, but he's looking for me. I don't need to go looking for him. He's a bad guy with bad intentions. But God says, no, I know, Ananias, what you don't. What I need from you is obedience to live on mission, even when you don't have all the answers, because I do. I just need your obedience in this moment.
Yeah, one of the things that I mentioned yesterday, Sunday, that kind of lines up with that is when we look at Aaron's step of faith to go and meet Moses in the wilderness. If you look at what God tells Aaron, God told Aaron, and he will tell you, right? So Aaron didn't know the next step until he got to Moses and Moses filled him in. And sometimes that's obedience when obedience doesn't make sense. Sometimes the step of obedience you need to take living on mission is all right, God, show me who I need to help. Show me where I need to be. Show me where I need to serve.
I think there's a contrast there, right? Between the instructions that Aaron got and the instructions that Moses got. Moses got a whole 2 chapters of a burning bush where God's speaking to him. And at the end of it, he's like, I'm not the guy. Aaron gets hey, I want you to go to the wilderness. And he says, yes, sir.
I guess in fairness to Moses, Aaron was also talked into making a golden calf and worshiping it. So
yeah,
maybe he was just like a YOLO kind of guy. Yeah. All right, let's do it. I don't know. That's good. What else? What are some things, Eddie, that you saw in maybe just how people responded to the idea of being an informal missionary?
I think for me, it was a reminder, nothing new, but a reminder that most people don't understand that concept.
What do you mean? The informal missionary concept?
I mean, it's still a lot of people, I feel like it's pastors or full-time vocational ministers, missionaries, whatever, the professionals, they still think we're the ones on mission, but they're not. They're helpers on the mission or whatever. I'm not even sure if they always see that. Just recently I spoke with someone about this very thing, and it was like they didn't get that concept that we're all on mission and we don't have to be professional Christians, so to speak. Yeah. As we've kind of used that term too.
Yeah. Are you called or are you qualified? Yeah. Because only one of those matters.
Yeah. But I think just a reminder that a lot of people don't still get that concept and don't see themselves as missionaries. So that's helpful. I think the series seemed to go together. Like you, Matt, I kind of built on the series, the Orchard series, in our own series in July. Kind of built on that through Isaiah. God had just been dealing with my heart from Isaiah 6 for months, and I knew I wanted to put together a little series on Isaiah 6, where Isaiah sees the Lord in the day that King Uzziah died, and the thing when I read that struck me, that got me into that passage, was that opening sentence. On the day that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord. And the thought occurred to me, what has to die in my life for me to see the Lord every day? God's at work all around us, but the truth is we don't see him because we're not looking so many times. The burning bush, great example, right?
Yeah. Well, I think in our communicators meeting, talking about that message, I can't remember who it was, if it was Matt, if it was Robert, one of you guys talking about the similarities, but the contrast between Moses and Isaiah. They both see the Lord, albeit differently. Isaiah says, "Here I am, send me." Moses says, "Here I am, send somebody else." Yeah.
No, actually, I used that line yesterday.
Oh, was it you?
Actually, it's Isaiah said, "Here am I, send me." Moses said, "Who am I? Send somebody else."
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Who am I? I can't do this. So I think the point being, it was just good to see God orchestrate all of that, even though in July we didn't have an Orchard Global series. Each location pastor did his own, and yet God orchestrated that beautifully.
Yeah. So what about you, Robert? What have you kind of seen through those conversations, or even just kind of getting your feet wet at the Orchard, talking with people? I know one of the things you and I talked about is when you come to work at the Orchard, you almost have to stop thinking about you're coming to work for a church and think more you're coming to work for a missions organization that has Sunday morning worship services. That's
true. I think in a timely sense, us moving here when we did, and the busyness, of course, Matt, like you, I've been tired, man. We've all been tired, and just a lot going on with my mom and dad and other things. But yeah. I think when we're in those areas of life, something happens that causes us to have a sensitivity to others who are tired. And that's something that I've seen. And I think, in my private time of study, the Lord has just had me so much just meditating on Romans 12, specifically in verse 2, where we've got to transform our minds. And I think in helping people understand the mindset that church isn't a place that we go. Church isn't, we don't have church. We are the church. Yeah. And I think that's the biggest barrier, if you will, between where a person is and understanding their calling, their commission, if you will, to be the informal missionary. Yes, we're vocational, but that doesn't make them any less responsible than we are.
Something that hit me just preparing for the message personally last week, not the notes and all that we go through together, but when we talk about calling, God has a calling on your life. Moses was called. I think people assume that God's calling on their life is going to be big, grand, spectacular. You're going to be famous and popular and rich and successful. And yet, I mean, that's not normative for what God calls people to. And like you say, I think helping people understand what is a calling, what is God's calling on your life, that's super important.
You know, when we do not be conformed to the world, I think we see that through social media. We see that through those great pastors, you know, and those guys that are making that huge impact. But man, it's just as great an impact when you're at a hospital and you're able to minister to someone and a family member hears that and they start asking questions about Christ. So to me, that's being that informal missionary. And it's in those individual personal conversations, you know, and those moments when I've enjoyed getting to know people, talking with them. And if you listen, you can hear that need. You can hear why they're tired and have those conversations to help them, you know, see that there is a tiredness, but it's just an opportunity to put something in the hands of Christ and get that strength to be that informal missionary.
Well, I think for me, one of the reasons that I think I have found myself being tired, and this is just, you know, transparent. You're listening to the podcast, you know that we're going to be real with it, is I've always joked with Eddie about, I don't know how you did ministry without a cell phone. Like because I didn't get an iPhone until after I was a pastor, but I had a cell phone from day one of being a pastor.
Did you have a razor?
No.
Oh, you weren't cool.
Oh, I thought you meant, did I shave? No, I didn't shave. No, I did. Razor. Honest to goodness, I would probably go back to a razor if I could. That's my favorite cell phone.
If you had a razor, you were cool. I think it was the first one that had the camera like that, right?
Oh, I could care less about the camera. That thing.
You made selfies famous.
Hey, in all honesty, I think if I could go back to a flip phone or maybe the bag phone in my truck, I think it would make life so much easier.
Now, the bag phone I'm all in on. I wouldn't want it as my everyday phone, but it would be in the truck because we could be in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean and get signal on that bad boy.
That's right.
Like, that bag phone was real.
It was working off Starlink. How about Nextel? Beep beep.
Nextel. I was not a big. I was an Alltel guy. Alltel. It was Alltel Nextel war. What were we even talking about, Matt?
Hold on. This is like my early childhood, but like, man, that was a crazy day. You had to like wear your brand on the outside and be like, yo, I'm Nextel, you're not. So like, we don't fit together. You know what I mean? Like, you wore your brands and you like stuck to your guns.
Friends and family free nights and weekends, baby. Nights and weekends. Those phone lines filled up with 16, 17-year-olds when it hit like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night when you could call for free. All right, here's what we were talking about. I remember I still joke with Eddie. I don't know how you do ministry without a cell phone, but I find myself feeling tired. Like, I'll be fine. And then, you know, sitting on the couch in the evenings, watching TV with Leanne and the boys, messing around, doing something. And then boom, 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 my phone goes off with a few notifications and immediately I can feel my gauge just, just go down. Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally sometimes. Because I think in the world that we live, and this is not just ministry, by the way, the world we live in, we're always on. We're always accessible. We're always plugged in. Mm-hmm. And I think maybe that's why there's some more tiredness there.
Well, I think there's no doubt about that because, not only do people think you're at their beck and call, they get mad if you don't text back immediately.
Yeah, well, I'm going to say this, and you know this to be true more than I do, but we have some really great people at the Orchard that though they reach out to us whenever, it's not because they feel entitled to, it's because they're friends,
Yeah.
And I would say, I don't think I've ever once at the Orchard have somebody, I should be able to get a hold of you. Why didn't you answer my whatever? Now, again, I love some folks, but I be having some folks at the church. I wake up and they send me a message at 3 a.m. and I'm like, I'm sorry, I did not see that message at 3 a.m. Isn't it funny though? Because like that first year in ministry, if somebody sends you a message at 3 a.m., you'd be like, oh, I was up praying. I didn't sleep. I never sleep. But I will say, I don't think there's that level of entitlement but it doesn't really matter sometimes because, in fairness, it could be somebody from the church sending me a message at that time. It could be from the baseball team or friends or family. And there is what you're saying is true. There's that unspoken obligation to respond.
Yes. I think that's the thing. I don't think it's so much an expectation. I know not from our folks. Man, our people are great about that. But maybe the expectation
Would you like
comes
to
from
name
me.
any churches or other people that weren't?
No, I can't think of. I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Edit that. No, I'm just kidding. No, but you're right. That we have that pressure that we feel of. I need to respond to this.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Maybe it is more self-imposed, but still there is that urgency for that. And then you throw in different platforms of doing that. Like, for example, I always get in trouble because somebody will, what is it when you use Facebook Messenger? When they send you a message through that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't check that. I just don't check it. And
that's me.
It'll be days or maybe even a week before I see
So
that.
as you guys are talking, maybe we should do a series on how to navigate a digital world.
That's a great idea, man. We should do. Oh, yeah. At followers.
A couple months ago.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. I think, I had a professor, he was our New Testament professor in college, and he did not have a cell phone. He finally got a cell phone my senior year because his mom was in poor health and in a nursing home. And it was hey, she may not wake up this morning kind of, situation. So he wound up getting a cell phone, but he would tell us, I don't want a phone. It's an electronic leash. And we're like, oh, you're crazy. That's not true. Nope. 100% spot on.
He's right.
Turns out I cannot for the life of me fathom telling my 15-year-old son in 1 year, all right, call us when you get in, or hey, be back by this time. And I mean, that's just not the world we live in, but it does. You're always on. So that being tired is a real thing. But I think the way that we combat that is instead of just zoning out and being unintentionally just absent-minded, glazed. We all do that, right? Doom scroll. And, younger generations, I don't watch a lot of TV. No, you just scroll through your phone all night. Or I don't scroll through my phone all night. No, you just watch 16 reruns of Gunsmoke. We all do the glaze over, just turn your brain off. That's totally fine. But what I would argue is because we can't unplug in this culture, that doesn't help you not be tired because you just get snapped out of it so fast. But I think the opposite is living with intentionality, seeking after a good tired, not just I can't help it. Tired.
I'll say something else about the tired thing though. I think that's one of the blessings of summertime, is even though, in a lot of ways, you're just as tired in the summer because you're still doing things. You're still moving. You're still having services every week, so forth, so on. It's a different kind of tired, and there is some freshness to it just because of a break of routine. The some of the routine eases off, and I know here at the Orchard, our overall schedule just kind of lightens a little bit. So even though we're still doing a lot of things, and I am tired, I feel also a freshness. And like now,
it feels like the pace is a little bit different.
I think that's what it is. A change of pace, right? And the change of pace is good. And then coming into August and the start of school, it's like, I don't know why, but I feel rejuvenated somewhat, let's do it.
It's that purpose. It's that intentionality. It's the mission. And I really feel like all of our people, if you're listening to this, that you can get that sense of good tired simply by living with intentionality,
with the new season too, like summer behind us and fall ahead. I told them in church this morning, I said the O on our hat is for the Orchard, but it's also for opportunities. And I see so many opportunities with football, with doing devotions with the volleyball team and the new group season starting. There's just opportunity after opportunity. And I get excited about opportunities because that's an opportunity for us to invest in people's lives, to learn more about them. And summer, it seems like we just sort of go different directions and you don't have all the family together at one time.
Yeah.
But it's like we're getting back to a sense of normalcy, if you will, for 4 or 5 months anyway. And then we Christmas break, and then we'll start over again in the spring.
Yeah, it's funny because it is so seasonal, right? Everything's good. You got your routine. Something happens. Okay, it's fine. You ate through that season. All right, now we're back. Now we got But I do think the overriding factor is just intentionality. It's kind of like when it's football theme, right? Football season coming up. When I coach football, one of the things I love to tell, my players is, hey, you need to happen to the play. Don't let the play happen to you, because once that ball's snapped, it's happening no matter what you do. You need to want somebody happening to the play. Don't let it happen to you. And maybe that's, if you're out there just kind of feeling like you're tired, you're exhausted, but you're just kind of floating on the currents or whatever, man, go happen to life. Don't let life happen to you. Jesus has called you to a calling and a purpose. If nothing else, your calling and purpose is to know Jesus and make him known. Mm-hmm. Live that out intentionally this week. Don't just let it happen to you. You go make it happen. And I think you'll still be tired, but it'll be a good tired.
That's right.
It'll be a refreshing, energizing tired. You can sleep off a good tired. You can't sleep off a bad tired.
If you're living on mission and you're tired from that, that's not a tiredness that's been done in vain. You know what I mean? That's the thing. Like doomsday scrolling, like you can scroll and scroll. I mean, have you ever felt like you just feel mentally mush after you just scroll your phone for 45 minutes? And it's like, hey, I'm tired. And that was in vain because I have nothing.
Because your brain's on overload. It's too much information.
But if you go to bed and you're tired, but you spent an hour meeting with a couple or having dinner with somebody or praying for somebody or, having in-depth conversation, like that's a good tired, but that's a tired that's kingdom minded. That's a tired that's living on mission. And that's not a tired that comes back in vain.
I think you saying that there's a tired you can reflect on and enjoy, right? When we went to the lake Saturday, we were tired, but it was fun because we were joking about the lake, talking about, do you remember when Cole got thrown off the back of the tube and just went flying? Like you're tired, but you look back on what made you tired and you can reflect on it. Man, there's been days where I don't even know why I'm tired. I just know I'm tired. And that's not an encouraging tired. That's a defeating tired sometimes. Like, what did I even do today?
So I've been holding off on saying this because it's going to sound way too preachery, but
about Jesus Jukas.
Yeah, because I was thinking, back when I was really in the height of my running, when I was running some pretty long distances, and man, you get so tired, you get hot, you get like, I just want to sit down, I need to sit down, but I don't want to sit down because I got to keep going. I'm trying to beat a time or whatever, and I keep telling myself, you can rest when you cross the finish line.
There you go. Hey,
but also when you get across the finish line, it's not only are you tired, but there's a sense in which like even the endorphins in your brain are like, you accomplished it. You did it. Yeah. And you get like this little like boost,
even if you wind up going into the hospital and have to have surgery after you're
yeah. Well, I was going to say, I was glad that Matt cut in there because I was just going to say, or you can go to the hospital and have a triple bypass, whatever you want to.
Wait, did you get your IHOP before you made it to the hospital?
What?
When you running your race and you always would go eat IHOP or something right after they had loaded on pancakes.
No, I did not. I mean, after all, they said I had a heart attack. Which actually,
sometimes you just got to be dedicated, Eddie.
In fact, I didn't even get. Not only did I not get IHOP, I didn't even get food with salt. Okay.
Oh, that's bad. That's bad. So
change the subject.
Speaking of doom scrolling, I'm curious, and I know that none of you guys at the table can confirm this. So if you're listening to this, hop on the comments and confirm it or deny it. Or if you're ashamed, text me, message me and confirm it. I've heard that if you scroll TikTok for too long, it will pull up a video saying, hey, you've been scrolling for a long time. Maybe you should take a break. I don't know if that's true. I've heard that from a couple of people that there's and I'm just wondering, if so, how long do you have to get to that before they're saying maybe you should chill for a minute?
So if you do that, do you get like a little badge next to your name and on TikTok? It's like, hey,
no idea.
I've been there.
I've got no idea. See, Matt refuses to get TikTok because he doesn't want Chinese spies spying on him. Right. And I'm saying, I just hope my Chinese spy meets Jesus, has a couple of laughs and learns about a golf swing. That's what
So now, never mind.
Eddie's backing off. Well, how about this? Instead of looking back on the summer, let's look forward for the next few minutes because we got a couple things coming up this fall. First is, Wednesday night, when you're listening to this, the day it drops, tomorrow night, student ministry starts back at all locations.
Yeah.
Good tired?
I'm not. Robert might be, but
It's going to be exciting, to see the kids because I've just not had much time to be around them, mostly adults.
Yeah.
It is going to be neat to see those teenagers come in and be a part of their life, just get to know them right away. And, over time, develop some relationships. And I know Paul's excited about that as well.
Yeah. How long has it been since you've been a student pastor, Robert?
12 years.
12 years? Yeah. All right. I had a streak, not quite that long, but I broke it last year. Eddie was just a student pastor until he was able to bring Robert in to help with that. So, Matt, you are the guy at the table who has
3.5 years ago.
3.5 years ago is the last time Matt was a student.
So I've got to add one little quick thing to me being the student pastor. I love this, and I haven't fact checked this, so you may have to fact check it, but I believe I'm the only student pastor. I was the only student pastor in the state of Florida to draw on Social Security.
You know what? I like it. I like it. You can tell. I saw somebody had a title for their student. It was the associate, or a title for their pastor. It was associate pastor to students. And I was like, man, you're at a really big deal church if your title is a pastor to something.
Yeah, there's really no such thing. It's a glorified name.
Yeah, well, so, and I joke about that, but the thing is, at the Orchard, we really don't have student pastors. We have pastors, right, and we work with students, or we have leaders who work with students, volunteers who work with students, because one of the things that we try and reinforce with student ministry is we're not looking just to have the best hour of the week on Wednesday night. We're looking to build relationships that are going to last in these kids' lives and make a difference in these kids' lives.
What's really cool is if you look across the landscape of all the pastors with the Orchard, every pastor could go in, step in, and be accepted, to do student ministry. I think there's something very healthy about that.
We tested that theory when I stepped in, and it was close, if we're being honest.
But it worked.
Yeah.
And we're all willing, we're all able. But I will tell you this: we were talking about being tired. There's no tired like youth ministry tired.
Yeah.
I went to Falls Creek Camp 3 times when I was in Missouri. And that's a huge camp. And I'm going to tell you, after a week with those kids, man, it's like you've got to have a vacation.
The only tired like student ministry tired is kids ministry tired. But I go to kids camp because I can scare them into going to bed.
There you go.
So, Robert, I know you haven't heard this story, and I don't know if we've told it on the podcast, but AJ and I had like a week of transition before he moved, and then I stepped into student ministry. And so that week AJ was gone, I stepped into student ministry, and one of the little girls came up to me and goes, "So are you like our pastor now?" And I go, "Well, I've always been the pastor." And she looked at me. I said, "I was AJ's boss." And she looks at me and rolls her eyes and goes, "Yeah," and walks away.
So she was not impressed?
I don't think she believed me, if we're being honest.
She was impressed with AJ.
So that's good. But student ministry starts back Wednesday. Doors open at 5:30 at all locations. It's a good time. We're going to have some fun launching into a new series the following week, the 20th, talking about the fruit of the Spirit with the kids. And I think that's going to be a good time. We're doing something a little bit different with student ministry this year. There are going to be student only series that we go through, but then there's going to be a couple times this semester where they're kind of piggybacking off of what we're going to be talking about on Sunday morning too. So
yeah, I think Lucas and Robert and Matt, I think you were in on that. I think
Paul and Eli too.
Were they okay? I think they did a good job of deciding which of our Orchard series to use and which ones not to, because I think the ones that they chose are going to be so easily applied to students as well as adults. And I think that
and part of that thought process was to bridge the gap to where, if you're listening to this and you call the Orchard home and you attend on a Sunday, you're going to be able to have these conversations with your senior, with your 7th grader, whatever it might be. And that's really the goal, right? We say it all the time. We're a Home Depot church. You can do it. We can help. And that's one of the ways that we want to help you is, hey, we want to go through content on Wednesday with students and maybe change the illustrations of the examples and make it a little bit more easy for them to digest in their world. But the principles don't change. And you can have those same conversations in the car, over dinner, on the way to the ball field, whatever it might be. And so this is a way that we can help you as a parent own the influence that you have with your kids.
I think there's another really benefit that kind of relates to the whole thing of the pastor being the student pastor, or, granted, we have some student pastors there, but the pastor being so involved, I think that sprung, as I recall, even from conversations long ago, that sprung from similar to what we're saying with these series. We want our students connected with the church, not just a para-church organization, which some student ministries almost become para-church.
Their own ministry.
Yeah, and I think the problem with that is then when the student graduates, she has no place to go.
Well, I think it's kind of like what Chip said about parenting is, in a spiritual sense, we want to see it almost like a parent where we're not trying to raise good students. We're trying to raise godly adults, right? And so student ministry is one of the ways in which we get to invest in their lives and really meet them on their level, because there is a difference between being in 7th grade and even being a senior, but they're not paying taxes and voting and all that stuff, right? So there's a lot of life change that happens. But when they step into adulthood, we want to equip them with everything that they need to not be swayed by the winds and the waves of society. If they go to a university or a college campus, we don't want their faith to become shipwrecked because they're like, oh my goodness, I never heard this before. I wasn't prepared for this. We want to meet them in student ministry, but the goal is not to have good students that graduate and never come back to church. No, the goal is for them to be godly adults, and we want to invest in their lives while we can in ways that are unique to them.
Yeah, I think that is that's what student ministry is. We want to help your kids follow Jesus, not while they're in high school and middle school, but for the rest of their life. Maybe the motto for student ministry should be grow up. I'm here for it. I like that. So Wednesday, student ministry, Sunday, O-Day.
The Blob.
The Blob. Robert has already said he's going to be first on the Blob. I'm pretty. Isn't that what you said? I can't remember if I got that right.
You are totally misspeaking right now.
So I got that wrong. I had that
totally wrong.
Okay.
I think one thing should be said. If Robert is to be first on the Blob or even appear on the Blob, I think Walker needs to be the one to to kick him into the air.
I mean, are we going to vote? Because I'll vote for that.
There's no vote. It's a dictatorship.
What about this?
No,
what
I'm
if
out.
Walker gets on the Blob and you blob him?
No, I'm not going to be on the giving end or the receiving end. I'm out.
By the way, we probably should say Walker is his son.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I had a few people talk about, have we ever done baptism via blob? Baptize you in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
I mean,
No.
with some of the people that were Blob last year, you could probably read a whole passage before they hit the water.
Man, I was showing some of the kids off of my baseball team a video from last year, because some of the boys on the team came last year, and one of them he's small. He and Chasen were the smallest ones on the team. That joker got sent into orbit. Yeah. I'm talking about, you could have put a tree between him and the trees. He was gone.
When you guys were talking this morning about a girl that broke her ankle.
Yeah.
And hitting water.
Tell everybody that on the podcast.
Listen, it doesn't matter. Listen, this is your public service announcement. You have been warned by the same pastor at the Orchard. Do not get on the Blob unless you have your life insurance paid up.
Hey, you know what? The camp knows what they're doing, because everybody who wants to participate in the Blob, the Jail Blasters, any of their stuff, you have to sign their camp waiver and get cleared off. However, she, and I know who it was, she did get a hairline fracture in her ankle because she was holding on.
She wasn't committed.
Yeah, she was using her foot
herself
to grab one of the, I don't know. But then I did feel really bad because I told her to quit being soft and walk it off. So I did feel kind of bad there. But we are going to have the Blob. We're going to have Gel Blasters, the pool, kiddie pool. Yeah. There's going to be some shade and some fans and a hammock, and it's going to be a good time. I almost said there's going to be some picking and some singing, but I can't. I don't know. Here's where I know. I know when you have guys like Kevin and KJ and Don, it's not going to shock me if somebody breaks out a guitar or something like that while we're around. The point is, it's going to be a family reunion with people that you actually enjoy hanging around.
I love that.
And t-shirts.
What? Oh. There's going to be t-shirts? Yeah.
We already said it in the video. It's not a surprise.
I know.
First come, first serve, though. So if you want one, I would get there as soon as possible.
Well, it is a fun day, but we're also going to kind of cap it in a pretty special way too, I think.
So you're saying baptisms aren't fun, Eddie?
No, I think baptisms are very spiritual.
See, this is what my wife does to me. You saying baptisms aren't fun? No. No. So we'll do the fun stuff at 2. Baptisms at 5.
15.
Matt, you know people.
Just saying.
Baptisms at 5. Dinner at 6. And then right after a short dinner, we're going to go into a family night of worship. And I don't know if you guys have spoiled this. I spoiled it on Sunday just because I wanted to know, like, people, what do we mean when we say family night of worship? Well, it's going to be one that your kids are going to enjoy just as much as you are, because we've kind of been sneaky all summer long. And in kids' church, if your kids have been in kids' church, they've been hearing and learning some of the songs that we're going to be singing in night of worship. And so when that music hits, they're going to be ready to worship with you. And I know from being at kids camp, from being in kids church, from being a dad, when those kids are engaged in worship, it's just a whole nother level of enjoyment and fun. It really is, you know, and it seems weird. I agree. It seems weird to call a night of worship, quote, fun. However, I'm expecting this night of worship to be fun with those kids get. But it feels weird because we don't mean like flippant fun. It's going to be serious. It's worship. We're worshiping the creator of the universe. But when you're doing it with 6, 7, and 8 year olds, it's going to feel different than maybe it does on Sunday mornings. And I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I think it's going to give them an outlet. Like, we're not expecting them to be prim and proper and formal and sit there and be still and be quiet. No, we're going to have some fun. They've been learning some motion to some of these songs. Every Sunday in kids church, they've been going through some of this. And so it's a chance where you don't have to freak out as a parent, like, oh my goodness, is my kid going to be a disruption? No, like, they have the freedom to go.
We're giving them
to be
permission.
Loud and to,
hey, I want to call out to them. Hey, come on down to the front. You know, they do at camp. Come on down by the stage. And,
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be disappointed if some of our kids don't come down front like they do at camp. At camp, every time, like that first time they see other kids go down front and they look back at you and you just give them a nod and they're gone.
Yeah.
Like they're ready to lock in.
Just the other night at Trey's FCA kickoff, what an amazing to see the young people worship with such freedom, especially at the end.
Yeah.
That does something for my soul just to see that. And I hope as parents that you encourage that.
Yeah. Now, just again, full transparency. I know it's going to be a long day. I know people are going to be tired by the time that we're getting to night of worship. But if you stick it out for that, what are we looking at, Matt? Like 30 minutes worth of a night of worship, maybe 45. It's going to be a memory-making moment.
It'd be a good tired.
Oh, hey, did you hear that? Memory-making moment, good time. We're just bringing this thing.
I started to break out in a little song backing you up there while you were doing that. It was kind of a hallmark moment, wasn't it?
But I think it's going to be really good. So I encourage you to come. Before we leave O-Day, though, Robert, no blob. Blob's off the table.
I'm out.
Gel blasters. Do we know what gel blasters are?
I do.
Okay.
I don't like to be shot.
Well, if you're really good, you won't be.
I think I'm going to be the designated handshaker and just spend my time getting to know all the wonderful people out there in the world of the
busy
worship.
Fellowshipping.
There you go.
So no, here's the thing though. Matt and I have learned this firsthand with the gel blasters. There's nothing like playing gel blasters versus the middle school boys because they're all big and bad until you start running towards them with the gel blaster and then they just take off like they don't want any piece of somebody shooting them with a gel blaster. Good times. All right. And so let's wind down with this. Student Ministry Wednesday, O-Day Sunday, looking forward a little bit further into September, Here for It team nights.
I'm looking forward to those nights.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
I'm excited.
And not because we may get to dust off some old football uniforms. All we're going to say. Matt, tell us about Here for It team nights.
So Here for It team nights is basically we've broken up every area of ministry at the Orchard, and every location will host one of these nights. But at that night, every area ministry volunteer from all locations will be there. So that may be a very long, drawn out way to say this. On September the 7th, we're going to start, and it's going to be all kids and student ministry volunteers from all locations meeting in Live Oak. It's a chance for everybody to get together, to kind of share stories, to get to know other people, a chance to hear from Chip as he kind of casts vision for, hey, this is why student ministry, kids ministry, next gen as a whole, this is why it exists at the Orchard, and here's the part that you play. And so you can see that, you'll hear more about that on Sunday mornings with the graphics coming out, but we're going to do it for, next gen ministries. We're going to do it for all of our first impressions. That's parking, setup, cafe team, guest, services, all of those teams. They'll be hosted in Brantford, and then we'll end it on the 21st in Lake City. And that will be all of our worship and, band, media, all of those volunteers, but it's all volunteers from all locations but every location will host one of those nights.
But also, if you're listening to this and you're interested in serving in one of those areas, we'd love you to be there just to get an overview of kind of what it looks like.
Yeah, you'll be able to leave and say, oh, I get what that position does. Because when you think of next gen ministry or specifically kids ministry, you may not think about the person who sits there to check them in. And your main role is just greeting families and smiling at kids. You don't got to change dirty diapers.
And the whole premise of these nights is it will be filtered through the idea of living on mission. And so it's, how do I live on mission in next gen? How do I live on mission if I'm parking cars? How do I live on mission if I'm in the media booth on a Sunday and nobody even knows that I'm there? The idea is, hey, we serve on Sundays in these ways, but by serving, we are joining in on the mission, and here's how we do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's good. One question though, Matt. If the way I serve the church is by critiquing all the things I didn't like in the service, which of those nights would I fit into?
September the 28th at your house.
No, it's this Sunday at the Blob.
There you go.
Yeah, we're going to have that meeting on the block.
Receiving end of the block.
The receiving end. Man, that was funny. So I don't know. I'm sure you probably all saw the post that Chris made last night with the O-Day video. Did you see that, Eddie? He texts me Saturday night and he goes, "You going to be in Lake City tomorrow morning?" I was like, "Yeah, I plan on it." He goes, "Okay, I got something to show you." And then he does like that little like side eye look emoji. And I was like, all right, this will be interesting. He showed me that video and he was just like, "So can I post it?" And I said, yeah, I said, that's fine. You can post it. But when I tell you, I could not, that couldn't have come more out of left field for me when he told me he had something to show me Sunday morning. Like, Chris and them, they're always working on something. And
you gotta watch Chris. You gotta watch.
So many great surprises.
He's sly.
Oh, man.
He's very sly.
You know what? It's all fair game, though. We all get got by Chris with some blooper footage or something. You missed this, Robert. We have, the online service host or whatever. They all take turns doing it. And Chris had saved a blooper reel and shared it at our staff like Christmas get together.
Of course he did.
And one of
all
the
bloopers.
We had Trey do it, and Trey was it was
Trey
bad.
had like 25 outtakes.
Yeah, it was
in
bad.
a row.
Hey, I love
bad. But the best part is when Matt catches a random stray because Trey just goes, "Oh, now I'm doing the Matt thing." Oh my God. And Matt's like, "What's the Matt thing? What does that even mean?" So
Trey always trying to slander me. I'll say this. If you listened to the podcast last week, Trey brought on an accomplice, JT, and he was also trying to slander me about something stealing home.
I will say, just to bring this full circle, if you're a devoted listener to the podcast, there has been some back and forth. Trey claims that he hit a double off of Matt Pennington in high school.
Ooh.
Matt says never happened. You never hit a double off of me. Last week on the podcast, JT, who was the coach, said, "Oh yeah, he hit a double off of Matt." Yeah. I remember.
That was a one-sided conversation, though.
No,
but
I'm going to defend myself. So JT was 100% sure. Oh yeah. And then he went on to say, and I'm pretty sure we stole home off of me. And we clarified before the FCA event that it was not me.
Yeah.
1,000% true.
It was not Matt.
It was not me.
However,
so if he was so sure that he stole home off me and it wasn't me, how sure can he be that Trey hit a double off me? I'm going to leave it at
look,
that.
Here's where we're going to go, though, because you did come to a resolution. Matt doesn't want to admit they came to a resolution, but they figured it out. And really, if we had more time in this podcast, it is a great example of how you can interpret the scriptures, because what seems to be mutually exclusive is not mutually exclusive. Because Trey said he had a double off Matt in high school. Matt said, "No, you didn't. Never happened." Turns out it was during summer ball.
No, it wasn't. You said that very definitively. It may have been in summer.
You conceded that it probably happened during summer ball.
Trey's mom was keeping
if it happened, right?
But why? Because Matt says, "Oh, I don't count that."
Yeah, but
I
listen.
I think my suggestion was the best, though. I suggested that Matt was probably throwing bat in practice.
Hey.
Yeah, well, watching Trey hit bat in practice.
This is for all you mamas out there. Trey's mama was keeping Game Changer. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Poor Trey. I love you, Trey.
Dropped the microphone and walked away from the podcast table. Man, what a note to end on. Seriously, it's been fun to catch up. We got a couple other things that are going to come your way on Let's Talk About That. And then here shortly. We don't have a specific date nailed down yet, but here shortly, we're going to be transitioning into season 3 of Let's Talk About That and shifting gears a little bit in the podcast. We're excited about it, making plans. Hope you'll stick around for that. Hope to see you at O-Day Sunday. And if you got a student 6th through 12th grade, let's see them this Wednesday at Student Ministry. All right. We'll catch you guys next week.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Let's Talk About That. We hope it encouraged and challenged you as we continue to grow on this journey of faith and embrace community together. If you have any questions, thoughts, or feedback, we'd love to hear from you. Reach out to us through our social media channels or visit our website to stay connected. Your support is what makes this podcast impactful. If you found today's discussion meaningful, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, share the episode with a friend, and leave a review. Your engagement helps us spread the message and connect with others who can be encouraged through these conversations. Until next time, we hope this episode inspired you to live out your faith this week. Keep the conversations alive and remember we're all on this journey together.